What's up, guys? Welcome back to Season 1, Episode 5 of the Save the Best for Last podcast. Today's guest has been competing in competitive synchronized swimming since the age of 9. Since then, she's made her first U.S. national team competition in Israel in 2015, followed by her second national team competition in Portugal in 2016. From 2017 to 2021, she was relocated from her hometown for the full-time national team. Followed by that, she trained for 8 hours, 6 days a week at that Olympic headquarters in California. During her time with the national team, she competed in multiple World Series. Those consisted of China, Spain, Canada, France, and many parts of the United States. In addition, she's competed in the 2018 Junior World Championships in Budapest, the 2019 Pan American Games in Peru, the 2019 World Championships in South Korea, the 2020 Olympic qualifications in Barcelona, and she now competes at a collegiate level with the Ohio State University Synchronized Swimming Team. During her time as a Buckeye, she's achieved 2-time national championship in 2022 and 2023. She's a 3-time All-American and a 3-time Scholar athlete. Today, I would like to welcome the one, the only, Hannah Heff.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Of course. First of all, that was like literally a mouthful, which is like not a mouthful in a bad way. No, I'm not trying to be weird. But like, what a list of accomplishments. That was the longest intro I'll probably ever have. So let's bring it back to where I started with like age of 9. Mm-hmm. You're 9 years old. You're living in
Las Vegas,
which that alone, like, what was growing up in Las Vegas like for you?
Growing up in Vegas was definitely interesting. Of course, you have the Strip, but behind the Strip is just all houses and neighborhoods. And especially when I was born there, it wasn't as developed as it is now. So there wasn't a lot of people that lived there. I feel like the people that I know now, it's a very close-knit community. Obviously, there's people that from California that are moving there now, so it's way bigger. But back then, it was a lot smaller. But growing up there, like, I would say it's more or less pretty boring, unless if you're going to the Strip. But being, a kid, you're not really doing Strip activities. You're more or less going to dinner, seeing shows. Shows are fun. Yeah. We have a lot of museums, too. Like, every school field trip is at the Strip. Like, an aquarium, the Titanic Museum. There's another, like, science museum for kids. But it's all on the Strip. So every time you take a school field trip, I went to a Christian school. And so, like, when we would take our school field trips, we would just see a bunch of interesting members on the
otherwise
trip.
Known as prostitutes, guys. That's what she's referring to. So growing up was different than it is now, but it was still, like, not much different than, here outside of, like, the Strip was right there, but you're still doing the same activities as, like, right. Museums and, like, typical, like, family household and, like, youth activities that you would in any other state, essentially.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha. So how was synchronized swimming brought up? It's funny, when I met her, well, I guess not when I met her, but the first time we got to know each other on a deep level, I'm like, it's funny, I didn't know anybody growing up that did that at all. And, like, I saw it on TV and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, but then when I met her and I was like, this girl does what? Like, she, like, I was like, how do you do the tornado in the water? Like, she's literally doing things that I can't even imagine doing. So, like, what brought that to life and, like, what made you choose that sport of all the ones you can do as a child?
So, as a kid, my dad would always take me swimming after school, like, always. I loved the water. I loved being in the pool. It was so fun to me. It was really, like, a safe place, a happy place. And then when I was maybe 7, 8, my stepdad really wanted me to do an extracurricular activity. And so I ended up doing soccer for a minute. I was so bad, like so bad. I was the defense, immediately got pulled up from the game because I was looking for ladybugs, let a kid run right past me. I just didn't care. I was like, whatever. And so my stepdad was pissed. He was like, you need to do something. Soccer's not it, but like you need to do something. And so he kept recommending all these things. And of course I'm like, no, ew, gross. And so one day my mom was like, okay, we're going to dinner. David, that's my stepdad's name, he was like, my mom was like, we're going to dinner. David's going to show you a video of synchronized swimming. Just say you're going to try it. You don't have to like it, but just say you're going to give it a shot. She's like, I'm not in the mood to have a fight at dinner. I was like, whatever. So we went, he showed me a video. And at first I was like, what's the word I'm looking for? I was very like hesitant. I was just like super sassy as a kid. I was like, whatever. And then he was showing me the video, and as the video went, I was like, wait, I kind of like this. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I'll try it.
Cool, yeah.
And then I went to my first practice and never looked back. I absolutely loved it.
Wow. And I feel like in Vegas, and this is another point we talked about, is like it was probably bigger there than it was here because you do have the strip.
Yeah.
So like there's people actually doing it as a career for like the show business. And were you able to see those shows growing up and kind of see them doing it in like a, I don't want to say recreational because they were doing it to make money, but
Right.
seeing that, did that also like gauge your interest in synchro?
Yeah, 100%. Like my first coaches, they were actually performers on Le Rêve and Cirque du Soleil. So they had that experience. And of course, like being a little kid, they let you go backstage. They'll take you backstage and see the things. And so that was very inspirational too. But one of my first coaches was also an Olympic gold medalist for the first time ever for Team USA. And I think that was like my main thing that was like, okay, that's really cool, like to be coached by an
You're like,
gold
I want to
medalist.
do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it starts off at 9. When was it where you're like, okay, I like this, but I'm also like really fucking good at this? Because like my intro explained, like no shade to anyone that's like an athlete or a competitor of any extent, because doing it is like the point. The point is doing it and being happy with it. But like you're damn good at it. Like you're not just good, like you're one of the best in the country. And when did that you start to recognize that and you're like, okay, I can do something with this?
I don't think I ever had a moment where I recognized that I was really good because my first time trying out for national team, I was so close and then I didn't make it at all. Like I was 12, I think, yeah. And I was absolutely heartbroken, but that like drove me to be like, okay, I need to work harder, I need to do more. And I think ever since then, I've never, and especially within the sport, like you're always striving for perfection. So you quickly realize growing up in that sport that nothing will ever be perfect. Like you want it to be perfect, but you will never feel that it is perfect. And so I don't think I ever had a moment where I was like, okay, I'm really good at this. Like I can go super far with this. It was more of like I want to do this. And so I'm going to do what it takes to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's a better perspective than the initial like, okay, what do I have to do to be this good? It's just like, I want to do that, so I'm going to do whatever it takes,
Right,
essentially. Yeah. So as you just stated, 12 years old, you don't make it. Mm-hmm. You're probably so devastated. I can definitely imagine, like, what, 7th, 8th grade, right? That year, 7th,
Like
8th?
6th grade.
6th grade. So right before middle school, and you're, like, starting to find yourself and figure out, like, you know, what does life look like for me? Obviously, you're not, like, you're still 12, but that's, you know, hormonally when you start to realize, like, life. So you don't make it when you're 12, 13, 14, 15 comes around. When did that pivot and change into like the world competition level of synchro?
Yeah, so after I didn't make it for 11, 12 national team, they have 13, 15 national team. And so when you grow up, you move to different age categories. So now I was in the 13, 15 category. I was still living in Vegas, and I tried again for 13, 15. But of course, like being 12, competing against 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, it was a whole different like genre.
Yeah.
And so, or different group of competitors. And I tried out again, didn't make it again. So I was like, this is crazy. But I was going to competitions and I was like getting really good results and very compatible with people that were making national team. And so I had this one coach really tell my mom, like, if she wants to do this, she's going to have to move teams. Like, you can't stay in Vegas anymore to do this. Like, she's going to have to move. And so that's when my mom and I moved to California when I was like 13, 14-ish. And I moved, and that's when I started doing online school from 8th grade all the way until high school. And originally I started training for training at the Santa Clara Aquamaids club team in Santa Clara, California. That was for about a year or two. And then after that, the first 2 years there, I made national team. And then...
So there, I assume, are a pretty reputable club.
Yeah, they were the best in the country.
Okay.
I think they still might be. Them and, like, Walnut Creek.
Shout out Santa Clara. I don't know where you kids are at, but apparently you're busting ass, so kudos.
Yeah,
so you're there for 2 years, and then what caused you to change from that team?
So at Santa Clara, you try out for a national team. The 13-15 age group is just a summer thing. So you train for maybe 3 months. At the end of summer, you go to a competition like somewhere in the world, and then you're done. You go back to your club team for the year. You try out again through like January, March. You train for the summer. It's all kind of like that. But they sent out so USA Synchro at the time, that's what it was called now. It's artistic swimming. But they were trying to qualify the U.S. for the Olympics. And so most sports have a designated training location, like everyone trains together, you build up your team. And so we were just doing like, for synchro at least, like all of the Russians trained together, the Ukrainians, the Spanish, English, the Spanish team trains together, Italy trains together, like everyone trains together. Yeah. And so the US was the only one coming together for like 3 months and then going to these competitions, and we weren't doing well, like
because you're not together. Yeah.
So they decided to get a group of like 12 girls to move to, what's it called? I'm blanking on the name. It's it's very close to like Berkeley, San Francisco area.
So before you came into this, you were saying that all these other countries are coming together and being able to swim as one.
Right.
So eventually it got to a point where you guys were able to come as one, but you're in Lafayette at a high school pool.
Yes. So prior to that, while I'm on Santa Clara, we tried out for the junior senior national team. And so that's when it really, the junior senior national team is like 16 through senior could be all the way up to 28, but we didn't have enough people interested in synchro at the time to want
in the United States
to want to like actually like up their entire life and move to just dedicate something that's very unknown. Like no one was doing it at the time. And so a bunch of people declined it. Some people that made the team decided to say yes, but we had a bunch of girls just come together in this tiny little town in California from all over the U.S. I mean, we had people from Boston, Florida, Texas, Vegas, California, definitely more places. Yeah. But we all came and we met there and we just started this training, and that's where it really took off.
Okay, so you started in a high school gym. I assume it eventually grew and is now in like an actual Olympic.
No. So synchro makes no money, but aren't
there like Olympic pools?
There are. So like
you guys can't share?
We trained in the high school pool. It was a nice high school pool. Don't get me wrong. Look up Soda Aquatic Center. Great pool. But it was also freezing. That's the one thing I hate about this sport is it's always so cold.
The water?
Yes.
Can't it be warm?
You would think, but they never heat the pool.
Why?
I don't know. They don't like us.
Does it keep you like...
I think it's because a lot of the speed swimmers, like, they can't swim in warm water, which makes sense. But then for us, it's, like, awful.
Yeah.
But now the senior national team, they train at UCLA.
Okay.
In the college pool.
But still, a collegiate pool, not an Olympic.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild to me. Like, can we, like, up our game? Like, I feel like they deserve a pool, too. But we'll get back onto that in a different moment. Okay, so 13, 14, 15, you're now swimming with the U.S. team. Mm-hmm. You're all together. What is the first competition that you can remember that you guys competed together once you got to training together at that pool?
Yeah, we went to China. We went to the Beijing Open for the World Series.
Let's talk about China real quick on a side note. Because when I met with her, we had this conversation. I didn't know that you would have a visa to go to China. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that. Thought it was just like any other situation where you just take your passport and go on a little trip. Fun fact, you have to like actually get approved via a visa for like a work or like for her. Obviously, she's competing with the country. So like that's how she got it. But you can't just like dandy on into China. You have to be there for a reason that has significance. So I just want that to be on record. But continue. You're in Beijing for the World Series. Wow. Okay. Yeah. And what was that like? What was that experience like?
That was crazy. I mean, I think I had just turned 16.
Wow.
And, you know, before practice when I was little, I would always Google on YouTube, like, the London Olympics, I think 2012, and Rio 2016 was just, like, barely, like, ended. 2 years past.
Yeah.
And I was so inspired by these people. And I actually think Beijing 2008 was like other things that I would Google and watch, and I just loved watching these people swim that had already been to the Olympics, like my idols that had Olympic medals, and now I was competing against them. And I'm 16 and I'm like, what am I doing? It was a mess. Our competition was an absolute shit show.
Like you didn't do well.
It wasn't well. Like even just for us, we didn't do well, but also like competing against actual Olympic athletes, it was the very first time ever, and we're all babies. You know, we're kind of the laughing stock of the whole thing, and no one's taking us seriously. Like we have this goal to qualify for the 2020 Olympics, but you know, it's kind of like no one's going to believe you.
Yeah.
And fair enough at that point in time too.
Yeah, and this is in 2018. So the goal with that was to qualify for the 2020 Olympics.
That was like the end goal. The World Series is just little like pit stops before you have a big competition at the end of the year.
Okay.
So for us, our big competition that year was the Junior Worlds.
Okay.
In Budapest.
And that was in Budapest. Yeah. So we start off in Beijing, and that goes terribly.
Yeah.
Overall.
A lot of funny stories, though. Good memories, at least.
Can you share some funny stories?
Yeah. So
best funny story from China.
I was super, super nervous before competing, and so I had to use the restroom. And this pool was a bit nasty.
Why?
Well, like just murky water, like not very well upkept. But I go to the bathroom and it smells. Like it smells so bad. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like just go to the bathroom. Like I had to go to the bathroom. I'm so nervous. And I open the stall door, immediately close the stall. And I'm like almost in tears because I'm like, I can't use the bathroom. It's just a hole. A literal hole. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. The hole wasn't the problem. The problem was behind the hole was just a pile of someone else's crap. I was like, I cannot use the bathroom.
Was there not another one?
Well, they were all taken because I guess everyone was nervous. So everyone's just using the bathroom. And so like my other teammate comes in too. And she's like, I'm like, you can use the bathroom. I can't use that. And she's like, opens the door. She starts crying. She's actually crying. Our coach comes in and they're yelling at us like, you have to get in the pool, get ready, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, like, I guess I have to go get in the pool. So that was funny. But I mean, we did get to go to the Great Wall, and we saw a bunch of other cool things in China too. So
you actually got like a world travel experience out of that, not just swimming in a murky pool.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yes.
So that, outside of, you know, having the experience of getting to go to China, swim-wise, didn't end in your favor, but it was a learning experience, I assume. Okay.
All learning experiences.
What was the next pit stop after China?
I believe we went to Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did we do a little better there?
Oh, no. We had a routine.
She goes, oh, no.
We had a routine.
Oh, no.
Called combo, which is like 10 people. Usually a team is 8 people, and then you have like solos, duets, trios. Well, trio's only a collegiate thing, but internationally you have like solo, duet, combo. I think they got rid of combo. Now it's highlight. But back then it was combo. And it's 10 people. We swam, we competed. It was so bad. So bad. They didn't talk to us. They were so mad at us. And the last day of competition, we do this thing called gala events, where you can just have a fun routine. Everyone gets to have fun. It's not judged. Nothing. It's supposed to be easy. They were so mad at us that they told us, we were at the pool waiting for awards, and they were like, go back to the hotel, get noxed. Noxed is like the gelatin that you put in your hair. You put your hair up in a really tight bun, like millions of bobby pins, headpiece that matches your swimsuit. And
you guys don't wear caps?
Yeah, no, we don't wear caps or goggles when we compete.
Oh, wow. I don't think so you don't open your eyes?
No, you do.
In the water?
Yeah. So like at the end of a competition day, like your eyes are shot red.
Wait, is that like healthy?
No, it can't be. Definitely can't be.
Why am I just now, like, I've watched synchro, but I'm just like now processing that like you don't wear a swim cap and your eyes are just like open.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to slick your hair back a certain way.
Yeah.
With like a certain type of gel, I guess?
You use Nox gelatin, unflavored Nox gelatin that you would make like a cheesecake with or Jell-O with, and you just add really hot water to it. It smells so bad, but then you just apply it to your hair.
Why?
So it like doesn't get in your face.
So it hardens it to
Yeah,
like
it hardens it like
really...
it's a rock.
Does it wash out with water? How do you get it?
Like,
how do you get it out?
You take a comb and you can kind of like start scraping it so it becomes
Goop.
Yeah, gooey, and then I like to put conditioner in it, and like when we're taking the bus back to the hotel, I let the conditioner sit, and then you have to just get in the shower, hot water, and it'll like slowly melt. It's pretty nasty.
My God, you guys really go through it. Okay, so sorry to interrupt. You go back to the hotel, they're like...
Yeah, they're telling us to Knox, and we're kind of confused because we're like, we're done, we don't know what we're doing, and then they basically are just like, your swim was so bad, you're gonna do it at Gala. And we were like, oh, great.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just great.
Good.
Just
okay.
fun.
So you go back, you Knox up, you come back, you do it at Gala.
Mm-hmm.
Was it better at Gala?
Yeah.
I guess it sounds like it couldn't have gotten worse.
Yeah.
Than the first swim you did. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better the next time. Then after that, I assume no
Then
award?
after that, we went home.
Okay, so no
back
award.
to training for a couple months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was the competition following that? I want to get to the point where like, okay, we're starting to get our feet in the water.
Oh, this year was rough.
No joke.
This year was rough. I honestly think a couple years following this were pretty rough too. I would say 2020 March, we had a competition in France, and that's when we had like our feet in the water, like we were actually making a name for ourselves.
Okay.
But up until then, we were just kids. Like everyone's laughing at us. We're all trying to learn. I mean, we went through a whole new changing of coaches, like I think 2 different times. We had our original coach and then a shift and then another shift.
Do you think the change in coaches also helped you get better?
We got
I know coaches, we could go down this rabbit hole for probably the whole podcast, but coaches are a really sensitive topic for some people in sports because a coach can really make or break you. Mm-hmm. And like when I say make or break, I really mean make or like break. Like, I mean, there's athletes, unfortunately, that lose their life to like mental health reasons because they have coaches and like environments that are so negatively impacted on their life.
Right.
And I feel like when you just saying that reminded me, like, there is a chance that like those coaches were like hindering your guys' development and like overall well-being for you to be able to swim to that extent. So were there any like experiences you had with coaches that were really detrimental to you as a swimmer?
Yeah, I think honestly all coaches on national team have probably made a few comments here and there that have always stuck with me, and I know with other girls as well. But I mean, there was like one coach that told me, I think I was 16, she told me that I needed a boob job or breast reduction because I didn't look athletic and my boobs were distracting. And then the very next day, she brought a sports bra to the pool and wanted me to wear that.
Under the
swimsuit. And I did, and I felt like really humiliated. And then I just was like, no, and I didn't wear a 2-piece for like the longest time after that. I was just in a 1-piece. And then there were other times where they would make some of the girls who were like on the bigger side, like no one was big, but the bigger side, like wear multiple layers of clothing so that they would sweat more, so that they would like lose weight. And they were told like if you don't lose weight, it's an embarrassment to have you on like the world stage, which is really also messed up. But
oh my God, I can't imagine that. Jeez. And it's just like, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but synchro is a female sport. Correct?
Is there
it's male
mostly female, but there are males.
Okay.
So they have like...
is male like its own category?
Just recently, actually, males can swim in team. Okay. You can have one male in team, I believe. They can be in highlight as well. And then there's a mixed duet, which is like male and female. And then there's male solos.
Okay. So you didn't swim with males a lot growing up?
Growing up, no. But actually, one person that I was coached by a few times, Bill May. He swam for Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, wow.
And so he was in Vegas at the time. And then it was kind of full circle moment because I always looked up to him. He was like amazing. He still is. But he always wanted to go to the Olympics, but they didn't allow males. And so now he swam with me, I think my last year on national team in the highlight routine because he was allowed to be in it, which was really cool to swim with him. And now he's... like Team USA just qualified for the Olympics, so I really hope he gets to go.
And he's a part of it.
Yeah, he's a part of it.
Shout out, Bill. I know you're out there. Hopefully you watch this, so that's amazing.
He's also like the sweetest soul ever.
Okay, we love Bill. We're
love Bill.
So if Bill's swimming at the Olympics this summer, right?
Yeah.
We're watching Bill. We're going to have a whole party at Gala, so it's going to be a moment. Okay, so you swim Team USA in high school. Mm-hmm. It gets to a point. One, you were in high school, ending high school during COVID.
Right.
right? Did COVID have any impact on anything swim-wise or school-wise for you?
1000%. So COVID was the reason I took a gap year. Coming from like graduating high school, going into college, I took my gap year because I was like, what's the point of going to college right now? Like,
Can't
when
swim.
I have the opportunity, because they postponed the Olympics. And so, okay, let me backtrack. Prior to COVID, so COVID was just starting in like March, February of 2020-ish, maybe even 2019, the end of 2019. Yeah. But by the time it got really big in California was like 2019, or oh my God, English. It was like February to March.
2020, yeah.
Of 2020. And then March, we went to France for the French Open.
Oh my gosh.
In like the World Series. Yeah.
March of 2020.
We left the day before they closed the borders of France. Like we almost got stuck there. But while we were in France, we ended up beating the French team in our free team. And that was the moment where we realized, like, holy shit, we can qualify for the Olympics. And so
wow,
that having COVID that extra year, like, really helped us grow as a team. And, like, we really improved. We really, really improved. But our coach was, like, so hard on us. I mean, for good things and for bad things. Like, for better or worse. Like, you can always look at it both ways, but we did Zoom practices during COVID. So we were on Zoom for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours.
Wait, hold on. Zoom practices?
Yeah, we had to log on specifically.
And like set your computer up as you're in the pool?
Oh no, we weren't in the pool. We were like in our living rooms. Like we would do an hour of ballet. We would do a dancing class. We would go outside and go boxing. We were doing.
Oh, so you're just like doing body work, not necessarily actual synchro.
Yeah, we couldn't really do synchro, but there's a lot of like exercises on land that you can do that translate into the water. So we would do that. We would do like an hour of stretching, just lots of stuff, and then we'd have team meetings.
I thought you were really like setting up your laptop and like swimming in the pool, and I was gonna be like, what the? So you got better though, is the point? Like during COVID,
we got so much better, and I mean, I don't think. I would never trade that experience for my life. I mean, our coach like started doing these things. Like she was so set on improving us, not as athletes, but like as humans too. She would do every Friday. We had this thing called Hell's Kitchen, and it was like a task or something that we were scared of or something to like make us better. It was always to make us better, but it was like really hard at the time. So like we did the two that I remember the most were like a Halloween special. So she sent out a text the night before and was like, what's your biggest fear for synchro? And so some people said showing up late or like not swimming with a nose clip. So like water would go up your nose or like doing 2 run-throughs back to back. So the whole entire routine like twice in a row with no rest. Or what was the other one? Swimming with no cap. So like having your hair just out. Because like when your hair gets wet and you're trying to spin and move around.
But
like
didn't you say all of the routines you do it without a cap?
Well, you put like your hair in the Knox.
Yeah.
So like when you don't have anything, like your hair just falls out. Because like sometimes if you don't do your Knox properly, like your hair will fall out.
Oh my god.
And then it gets really heavy. So I remember we were like, our coach kept us at the gym super late. And they were always adamant that we were in the pool on time. If not, we would either get like burpees or we'd have to stay late, something like that. And no one wants to stay late after 8 hours in the pool. So we were always like super good about I was never good about getting in the pool on time because it was so cold, but a lot of the other girls were. But
too cold.
They kept us at the gym super late and we were like freaking out because we knew we were going to get in trouble. And so we show up to the pool and the junior team at the time, so like they're a little bit younger than us, they're like dressed up as like judges. And we're like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, you're late. Like, where are your credentials? Because to get into a competition, you need credentials. And it says like your team, like it has a picture of you and tells you like what areas you're allowed. So like they were like, where are your credentials? We're like, what is going on? And then we have whistles blowing at us. They're like, you need to have your suits on. Where are your suits? And so like 8 of us are just scramming to figure out what's going on. And then we put our suits on. We've just put on these random sparkly suits that we had in the shed at the pool. And we're all mismatched, whatever. We walk out and they're like, okay, whistle. The whistle like indicates that your music's about to start before you swim. So we jump in, we like do our run through. And then also at the time, the coach, we had like set points each week and she would like take the video, pause the video. And if someone was in the wrong position or like off count, like you'd get marked off or something. And so like whoever had the most the most mistakes was taken out of the team that week. So like even though you're being thrown all of these things, you have to perform well. And so that was the first one we did, was just like being late to a competition, like mimicking that feeling. Then the second one, she made us take our nose clip off.
And swim without it?
And swim without your nose clip. And then the third one, we did no cap. So like our hair was just out and about. And then then right after no cap, we went into another run through, like no rest. So that was like our Halloween special.
Wow.
And then we had one that we call we call it now the 28 run through days. And basically it was like non-stop. So normal practice, you would do max maybe like 4 run-throughs of a routine.
Back to back to back.
Not back to back to back, but like just throughout the entire 8 days. Like anywhere from like 4 to 6 run-throughs. This day, she had so we would do a run-through, we'd wait 4 minutes, and then we'd do it again. And we did that for 8 hours straight, or maybe like 5 hours, something like that. But we ended up doing 28 run-throughs, and she basically was like, here's a white flag. If you want to grab it, you can surrender and throw your dreams in the trash. And so like practice was over, and this I think was like one of the moments that like I've never felt more connected to a team. Practice was over. We had just finished our 27th run through. Like the flag was sitting on the side of the pool. We got up, we took the flag, we threw it in the trash, and then we got back on the deck and like told them to do another one. Because at this point you can't feel anything.
Yeah, you're just numb.
Yeah, like you're already drowning. You're like, what is one more? So we did like the last one, and we were basically like a big F you to them, but they were really proud of us. And I think as a team that like really showed us that we can do anything.
Yeah, wow.
Like, absolutely anything.
So that all happened in 2020.
That was 2020 to 2021. Like once the pools were opened up in like August-ish up until May of 2021.
Okay.
We went to Olympic qualifiers.
So when was it, you say this is all the way until May of 2021, when was it that you decided to come here to Ohio, which is super random of all places, but Hannah actually has taught me that Ohio State has one of the best synchronized swimming programs of all of the collegiate schools. So what made you decide Ohio State? When was it that you got here, and what did that experience look like for you?
I knew I was going to go to college for sure. That was always like not the end goal, but it was always
goal.
set.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to college, period. Yeah. It was more of like, and I knew I wanted to swim in college too. So Ohio State was like a no-brainer. But I committed before COVID. And then COVID happened, and then I did my request for a gap year. But I came on a recruit trip in the fall of 2019, and I loved it. It's like, so it was a pretty easy decision.
You already knew you were coming here. Okay, yeah. So you came, I assume, in the summer of 2021 then? Mm-hmm. You took a gap year? Okay. And when does the training for synchro start with Ohio State? I mean, I guess it's a year-round thing. Yeah. But when is, like, the season? When is the training for the season? What does that look like? Like, you get here summer. Does it off the bat start for you swimming?
Preseason starts pretty much right when school starts. And then you pick up into full season, I would say maybe October-ish, all the way until March. And then the last month of school, our coach saves our days off because NCAA requires the coaches to give the athletes a total of 14 days off. But our coach basically just saves them to the end, so we have a month off when nice. Finals come. So it's pretty nice. Yeah,
that's super nice. Mm-hmm. So you started swimming in August.
Yeah.
What was that first day as a synchronized swimmer at Ohio State, like comparing it to like your other experiences?
Oh God, I mean, it was vastly different. The environment for starters, but like the coaches at Ohio State are very different than national team coaches. They put you, I would say, as a human first. Like they're very much like human, then a student, then an athlete. And to me, that was a really big adjustment because I've never really been treated like that before. It's always been like athlete robot mode. And so they really allow you to talk about things and they want you to be okay. Like they really push you to engage with nutritionists and psychologists. And for me, my first year, I completely rejected that. I was like, I'm not talking to anyone. Like, I'm fine. Like, leave me alone. Even though I definitely wasn't. I just was fully like, I had my walls up.
And I thought, molded to this lifestyle. Yeah. And you had to like kind of remold yourself.
100%. I thought at first that all of these resources that they had were like breaking me. I was like, no, like you're trying to make me a worse person, a worse human. Like you're trying to make me emotional and like all these things that I were taught that was bad. And now it's taken me even 3 years and I'm still learning that like these things that they have, the resources at Ohio State are actually blessings.
Yeah.
Like,
So you eventually kind of, I hate to say conformed because I feel like that has like a negative light to it, but conformed to the like positive impact and the positive resources they had for you guys to use as student athletes. So you come in August and you're like meshed with all these new faces, right? Had you seen those girls? Had you competed with them in the past? Like, were you familiar with them?
yeah, so one of the girls I actually swam with at Santa Clara, she was here.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And then some of them had been on national team before, so I knew them, but they weren't doing like the full-time training. They were just doing the summer things. But I had interacted with them before, so it wasn't a completely new, like, all new faces. And also synchro is really small, so you always see these people at competitions anyways. So I knew who everyone was, more or less. I just didn't know them, like, their heart, you know?
Them personally, yeah. You just knew them from a sport or from an athlete perspective.
Yeah.
So you're like molded with all these new faces and swimmers, and was that an easy change for you? Like, are you used to swimming with different types of swimmers, techniques?
No,
or was it difficult?
not at all. I mean, I'd been swimming with the same girls for 6 years, and we all were like, we got so used to each other, you know? They were my sisters. I love all of them still, and even now in college, it's weird because every year you have a new team because the seniors leave, the freshmen come in, you're learning new things, and you also have way less time to practice. So I'd never adjusted to that.
Yeah.
It's still so weird for me.
Yeah, it's adaptation, right? So so every year you have to meet, like you said, new faces, new techniques, and you start competing, you said in October?
We compete in January.
But you start like full season, like training a lot in October. Okay. So in January you start competing. What was your first competition with Ohio State like?
First competition with Ohio State was super exciting. I mean, they have so many traditions. We do a circle, we sing, and like Brutus came. It was super fun.
He did this.
Yes. I mean, it's completely different. It's like very lighthearted, and of course, like they want you to perform well, obviously, but they want you to have fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, I was still very much in the mode of perform well, like robot, blah 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 blah. And I don't think I had fun my first competition because of my own fault, but like
because you were so like,
yeah,
I gotta be perfect. Like you're used to that, and they're like, girl, you have fun.
Yes.
Right? So
and I was also a little bit freaked out too because, like I said, in college you start in August, you compete in January, whereas like national team, you're competing the same routine for maybe 2 years with like tweaks here and there. And I had 3 new routines in college, so I was like, I'm not prepared to swim this. Like I was honestly a little embarrassed, but I mean that's the nature of college sports.
Yeah.
It's just very fast paced.
I assume by like what you just said, you prefer I guess there's no preferring, but you were used to how it was, like learning something for 2 to 3 years. So doing it after only 3 months, it was definitely a big adjustment for you. And was that first performance you guys did, was it well received? Like, did you guys perform it to the level that you would have liked? Or we can always, wish that we could do better. But overall, how did you feel about it?
I mean, like everyone that watched it loved it. Well, looking back on it now, I love it. But like in the moment, I was very not happy with myself. But I mean, the fans of Ohio State, they love it.
Yeah.
The synchro community, they love it.
Yeah.
Coaches love it. I mean, even our teammates love it.
And do you guys perform the same routine, like still to this day, or is it always changed every year?
It's changed every year.
Oh, wow. So that is a big adjustment for you because you're used to swimming something so consistently. Mm-hmm. Wow. So how did you do in that competition?
I don't really remember. I think I did well in the tech event, and then I swam trio. I think that was it. It was a very tiny, tiny competition.
Yeah.
I think I might have got second in tech, and then trio probably second again.
Okay. And you said there's singles, duos, trios, and then combo. Is that tech?
No, tech is like a completely different one where you have tech elements, so everyone's kind of doing the same thing. It's supposed to like reduce bias, but of course it doesn't.
Like all the teams are doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're doing it in a group setting or you're doing it individually?
Tech, you swim alone.
Okay.
And then everyone swims kind of the same routine, and then you're evaluated off of that.
Because you're all doing the same thing.
Right.
Okay, understood. So fast forward, that was your freshman year. You're now going into your senior year. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about that?
To be honest, I don't really care as much or really at all about results or placements or anything like that. I really just want to have fun and enjoy, like, it's almost like a commencement. Is that the right word?
Yeah, like just something to be proud of.
Yeah. Like just really have fun, because the whole reason that this started was because I loved swimming with my dad, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to have fun.
So it's bringing you more back to the childhood of what got you into swimming in the first place.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is kind of cool. It's like a full circle moment for you, right?
Because I did not really have fun performing on my years in national team. I mean, you're constantly being evaluated, told, like, I mean, at any second, you're off the team.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to be on the absolute...
Your P's and Q's 24/7, yeah.
And it took a lot of the fun out of it for me. And I mean, there were times I wanted to quit. There were times like, I can't do this. I mean, 8 hours in the pool, like, absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
But now I really just want to, like, be appreciative of everything that the sport has brought me to and really just have fun with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before I get into the senior season, something really cool about Hannah and something to be proud of as a Ohio State Synchro member. In front of us, if you can see, there are 2 championship rings. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the gold one is the one from 2022. Mm-hmm. And that was Hannah's first championship ring as an Ohio State Buckeye that they won at Nationals.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And then the one from your guys' perspective, I believe, is left of it. The chrome or silver one is the back-to-back ring because, like, you know, win in 2022, why not win in 2023 too, right? Mm-hmm. So that was her second national championship win with Ohio State. What were those 2 experiences like for you?
The first one was crazy because it was at home. So my family came. My grandma was there too.
Shout out, Grandma.
Yes.
Shout out, Grandma. You're a real one.
It was awesome. But, like, a lot of the big competitions that I had, my parents didn't get to go to because, I mean, they had work, or they didn't get to go to Olympic qualifiers because COVID.
Yeah.
So they didn't allow people in the stands. So they were just watching it on live streams, which having them come support me in real life was absolutely amazing. But, of course, like, you have so many fans in the pool. It gets so loud, and we had a clean sweep.
Gotta come this year.
It was really, really fun. And then the back-to-back ring was a little bit more, no one wanted us to win.
Really?
Yeah. People
Why?
hate Ohio State.
Why is everyone, it's funny because my family, quick briefing, but both of my parents, one of them went to an SEC school and one of them went to a school on the East Coast. So they're like very anti-Ohio State too. Because it's kind of like, Ryan Day says this and I think it's kind of corny, but you know, Ohio against the world.
The world, yeah.
Which I can't even say it's corny because it's kind of real to an extent. Like, because this, you know, our school dominates in almost every sport, which is kind of insane. People don't like us generally. Like, and you're going to find us like an alumni, like when you go places I've heard like, and you just are like, oh, I went to Ohio State, or oh, I graduated from Ohio State. Like, a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, even...
So I can see why, to your point, people didn't want you guys to win. Yeah, they always win.
Yes, 100%. And even like even at the airport, they're like, oh, you go to Ohio State? I'm like, yeah, I'm an athlete there or whatever. They're like, oh, duh. Like, they always, they're so mad about the trademark of the word duh. I'm like, I didn't do that.
Yeah. Sorry, can't be us. So everyone was kind of like lined up against you.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I mean, our 2 biggest competitors, they were cheering for each other. And then for us, they were just like silence. Maybe a couple of boos even. That one wasn't a clean sweep though.
Okay. Meaning you won all categories.
For the first ring, the gold one, and then the back-to-back one, we didn't win all categories, but we still managed to win. So
national championships. Which another thing I want to grab on it, which the number. Is it the other one?
Yeah.
Okay. Wrong ring. Yeah, this one. This is so neat to me. So on this one, it was funny. We were taking BTS photos, and I see on the side, I'm like, 33. Like, what is that? That's kind of random number. And I'm like, what is that, Hannah? And she goes, oh, that's the amount of times we've won a national championship. I don't even really have a response to that because, like, that's so incredible. I don't think it's normal. And it's just like, what the hell? So that makes the silver one, just so you understand, 34. And she also told me that they've only This is another crazy point. They've only lost like 14 or 15 ever in like their existence. So on that note, like that's something to be so prideful of, and like it's absolutely incredible to me. But I wanted to bring the rings up because that's incredible.
Yes.
Okay, so senior year's coming up. Mm-hmm. Excited, nervous, sad, because would this be, hate to say this, but the end of synchro for you, or what Probably, is that? Yeah. So this is kind of like the grand finale.
Yeah.
So kind of like a bittersweet moment.
Definitely bittersweet. I mean, there's so many things that synchro has taught me. It's also good things, but also like everyday things that I think of are so negative too because of the sport. So I'm excited to leave it, but I know I will be really, really sad
to miss it. Yeah. And on that note, I want to, kind of just bring more knowledge to viewers. What would be the highest moment you've ever had at synchro and the lowest moment you've ever had at synchro?
Oh boy. Probably Olympic qualifiers.
Is the highest
and the lowest.
Both. Okay, and let's kind of dissect that. What makes it the highest?
So our free team was like a robot theme routine, and we had like what a lot of the synchro community was calling the most difficult lift in the history of synchro, and it was basically like my job was to jump off of these people's hands, do like a split and land back on their hands, which in theory doesn't sound that crazy, but when you think about like I can't see anything, these people aren't touching the bottom of the pool, their hands like are floating. Slippery, like I have to balance coming back down, like it had never been done before, and like also very dangerous. Like if I do it wrong, like I could potentially land on someone's head or even hurt myself. And so like that was our goal, was to do this lift because like no one had done it, and it was like very much like the hype of our routine. And we nailed it. Like we absolutely nailed it. Like we had a killer swim. Like in the video on like the Olympic channel, it literally like at the end, the ladies like they came in as the underdogs with that swim. They have every chance of qualifying for the Olympics, blah, 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 blah. And like I remember like after swimming out of the pool, like the routine ended, everyone's like chanting USA. And that's also a really surreal experience. Just like finishing what you love and then like people celebrating it, chanting USA is crazy. But we're like swimming out of the pool, we're like hugging, like we know we just killed that. Like it was such a good swim. Our coaches are like jumping. They like never really get excited either. They were like really, so really like, happy.
Okay, I did something right.
Yeah, so that I think was like oh my God, I'm about to qualify for the Olympics. And then we're like standing on deck and the score is taking forever to come in. Like the anticipation is crazy. And then all of a sudden, like I look over, I see my coaches and they're like, they just kind of like fall. Like, and I'm like, oh no. And we ended up missing it by 0.2 points. Yeah. So that was like the highest and the lowest moment.
At the same
in, like,
time, wow.
The same, because it was like everything that we had worked for.
And you did it all to the best extent that you could.
And the problem of it too was like, synchro has a lot of bias, and so like there was a bunch of other things, and like the entire year
Love
too,
sports.
Like our team was getting like a score in the 90s, and then we had made our routine even more difficult, and then we swam at Olympic qualifiers, and they gave us like an 89. So it just wasn't, nothing really was making
sense. Didn't really
sense.
math.
No,
it wasn't math.
I mean, 0.2 is like, it was detrimental. It was
like
devastating.
So, for real, yeah.
It was absolutely devastating. But I mean, after that, I was like, that moment I was like, I want to go back. Like, I don't know what I want to do. So I went to college, and then I took 2 years here, and I thought I was going to go back and try for 2024, but my life just completely changed. And it's been hard, like, accepting that. And like coming to terms with.
Can you do collegiate and Olympic?
Yeah, you can. So like one of the girls that was on that team with me, she came back to Ohio State for 2 years, and she's in the duet now.
Oh wow!
So she qualified for the duet at Pan American Games, and then World Championships they qualified the team. So now Team USA is going to the Olympics this summer. So that's super exciting for them.
Shout out to them. Yeah, that's awesome.
And especially for the girls that like I originally swam with that started the journey when I started it and are still there. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah.
Like they deserve it.
Yeah. That's truly an amazing journey.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for all of that and sharing your story with
course.
everyone. As you guys know, at the end of every episode, I kind of bring my little spice to my friends here. So today we've curated a look for Hannah with a mix of all sorts of designers and themes and thoughts. We kind of really did this today before the episode. We just brought all these different pieces we liked and brought a look to life. So let's do it. Let's bring it together and show them what we made for them. Okay, so today we'll kind of like dissect her outfit. But she came to me. I was like, "What are we looking for? Are we looking more posh, more sporty spice, slick?" There's so many ways we can do a look, and I feel like her style kind of fluctuates, but pretty much she does have like a posh aesthetic. So not to laugh. So she said a suit jacket was the one thing she said to me, and I was like, okay, I have a couple of those, and I have this one from Louis Vuitton that I never wear, and I was like, we can definitely work with that. And the gold accenting, I have like a lot of gold pieces that could go with it, so let's start with that. So the suit jacket is from Louis Vuitton. It has gold accented details. You can see on the cuffs, there's gold on the buttons. For the actual jacket itself, it has gold, and the pearl necklace, which I don't even know where I got that, but it's stellar. And like, I've never worn it. So I was like, let's bring it out. But it does have like gold accenting between the pearls. So I thought that would be cool on like an all black look. She just has a black blank underneath. You can get that anywhere. Amazon, Fashion Nova, Target, Walmart, a thrift store. But it's just a blank silhouette. The black skirt, it's actually a skirt. It looks like a It looks like a skirt, but it's actually kind of shorts underneath, so it's really easy to like just be yourself in. It's from Zara, and then the boots she told me are from Amazon, which so are mine.
Link in bio, not yet, but soon.
Link in bio. I need them, so I am going to definitely steal that link. I love that they're platform. They're just like a big chunky moment, and I feel like the top is very like simple, and as I said, like the posh look, and then she's got that big chunky moment on the foot. She's carrying the best bag of all times, the off-white hourglass with the rotating gold hardware on the front. And then she's got gold accessories to accessorize and her gold necklace. I really like this fit. It's like one of my favorites that I've done, and we did it so quick. It wasn't like super planned out.
I feel very swaggy.
You feel swaggy?
I feel like emo royalty.
Yeah, she said that earlier, and I was like, I kind of like that. Like, that might be one of my like trended looks for clients. Is like, we can do emo royalty if you want. Like, why not? But yeah, that's her fit. I'm here for it for sure. What would you rate it? Scale of 1 to 10.
I'd give it a 10, obviously.
Wow, I got my first 10, guys.
The first 10? I mean, I love it. I really don't know what I would change.
Yeah. I'm here for that.
Back the harness.
Oh, yes, the harness. So if you happen to like do like a skydiving thing, because, you know, people do that apparently these days. If you happen to go on a skydiving adventure, is what I said, we can harness you up in the back. That's one thing about it. It actually is supposed to just freely hang, but it was kind of like flopping. So I was like, let's just twirl the pearls and like turn it into a harness. So like when she's walking and you see her from the back, she just has her little harness. So that's Hannah's look. But I really appreciate you for coming and doing the interview today.
This is so fun.
I'm happy to hear that. And you can check Hannah out this season, senior season at Ohio State Synchro.
Yes, ma'am.
Peace.